Hey guys, it's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides, and as you can see, I'm at a Ford dealership today. I'm at Walker Ford, and I'm taking a look at this 2017 Ford Focus RS. Now, if you don't know anything about Ford Focus and their RS program, get the whole idea of what you know of a Ford Focus out of your mind, because what Ford is able to do with this model, unlike any Focus before it, is this car has all-wheel drive, a 2.3 liter inline four turbocharged engine that puts out 350 horsepower. So let me give you a little bit of history about this very famous badge here, RS. If you're wondering, well, what does RS stand for? It stands for Rally Sport. And Ford, all the way back in 1967, created the RS program so that they could go world rally racing. Now, eventually, they needed to produce cars for the road, because that's how the rules work out, is that what you rally race, you must also produce for the road. So in 1968, that's where we see our very first Ford RS. Now, back in the 60s and the 70s, they didn't make a Ford Focus. They made what is called the Ford Escort. Over time, that car developed and became a monster under the RS program. Eventually, they came out with the Ford Capri, and then back with the Ford Focus. Eventually, they came to what we have today. And as you can see, this car stands out from the pack. It's not just about the performance, but it's also about the styling. So let's go ahead and look at this styling right from the front. As you can see, compared to your standard Ford Focus, they've widened up the grille. What they have done with this car is that they have installed such a large front mount intercooler. It's actually bigger than what the car really needs. Remember, you need an intercooler for that turbocharger to cool that air to give you more horsepower. What I really love about the front end of this car is I really love the opening, but I also like the touches and the details. I really like this metal screen mesh that they put here instead of plastic like you see in a lot of other cars. And I like the way they followed it all the way up from the bottom all the way to right underneath the Ford emblem. Another thing that I like about this car is I really like the front mount splitter here. You see these a lot on cars, and what's nice about this one, it's large, that lets you know that it's going to stop air from going underneath the car and force feed it right into the intercooler and the radiator that's right up behind it. And then of course, Ford. You know, Ford has been around since the early 1900s. They know how to produce high performance cars, but like I said, when you see that RS badge, that's something a little extra special. Another thing that I want to point out about this car is that you may not know, but this is a special Ford Focus RS color only. It's called nitrous blue. It's actually an additional cost option, and you could only get it on the RS. And this is really the colors of their whole program, because as you can see, the emblems as well is finished in that blue. So it matches both perfectly. Another thing I want to point out about the front of this car that I really like what they've done with the headlights. One thing that you may not be aware of is that these headlights actually move with the steering wheel. So if you go into a right-hand turn, the lights are going to pivot to the right. If you go into a left-hand turn, the lights are going to pivot to the left. What that allows you to do is it allows the road to be illuminated around that corner for you. And it's just this technology that Ford is carrying into the Focus lineup. Let's focus back down here at the lower section of the bumper. We have that nice mesh grille here. We have LED. They didn't cheap out. They didn't go with halogen bulbs in the fog lights. They went with nice LEDs, and this is going to help force feed air to cool those brakes. Because remember, this car weighs about 3,500 pounds because of the all-wheel drive. So those brakes are going to take a beating, and we need to keep them cool so that every time you press on that pedal, you get the same nice firm feel. I really love what they did with not only the styling, but making sure that they're taking care of us guys and girls that go do track days and autocross events. Let's go ahead and go around to the side of the car. I think one of my favorite things about this car are these forged aluminum wheels. Now this is another option. This is not the standard wheel. The standard wheels are silver and they're cast aluminum, so they're going to be heavier. This is forged. It's a lighter wheel. One thing I want to point out, just like Ferrari, just like Porsche, just like Chevrolet with the Corvettes, Ford is putting the Brembo brake package on these RSs. They know that this is a high performance car. Like I said, 350 horsepower. These calipers can slow that car down and grip over and over and over again, no matter how much you're abusing that brake pedal. So I'm really liking what Ford is doing for us enthusiasts, because this is an enthusiast car. This isn't a car for just anybody to drive. This is somebody who wants performance, and what's amazing about this car, you get the performance, but you get the everyday drivability, and that's what I really love about this car. Let's go ahead and continue down the side here. Now, one thing that I think is a little lacking, because I'm not gonna sit here and say this car is the best car in the world. One thing that is lacking for me is I wish that they had the fenders just a little bit more flair, a little bit extra aggressive styling, because this is a rally, Evoque car. They kind of just carried it just flat like the standard Focus, so that's one place I wish they could have done a little bit more. If we continue our way down the side, same story. I think if they would have flared out the front fender, the rear fender's a little flared, but if the flare was just a little larger, I think that it would have paid big dividends in the styling. Let's go ahead around the back, because this is probably, the front is my first favorite part of this car. The back is my second. So what I really like about the Ford Focus RS is they put this spoiler up here up top. What's nice about it, it's functional, guys. Just like the STI wing, just like the wing on my Civic Type R, this spoiler is totally functional. It's got a little bit of a kick up to help provide that downforce. What I like is, I like the way they carry the blue, but yet the spoiler is a nice flat black, so it doesn't stand out too much and stick out like a sore thumb. The last part I want to show you at the back of this car is definitely the lower diffuser. Now this diffuser is totally functional. What I really love is, I love that they went with a dual exhaust setup. This car has a special exhaust on it that you could actually make it quieter or louder depending on what you want. Another thing that I like is that the engineers, they heard from the higher ups at Ford that they wanted this car to make noise. And they wanted it to make a very specific noise that goes with rally cars. You might have heard of this pop and burble and bangs. This car makes that noise, and I'll show you when we go to start it up the great sounds that this engine makes. The 2.3 liter is a great motor, and I think after today's drive, I'm just gonna fall more in love with this car. So let's go ahead and check out underneath the hood. All right, guys, here it is. This is a 2.3 liter inline-4 turbocharged engine. Now, you may not know this, is that this engine is the same engine that's also available on the Ford Mustang. Now, the Ford Mustang's a little different because that car's rear-wheel drive. They actually had to horizontally put the engine in here instead of it being vertical like you would find in a rear-wheel drive car. A lot of things that I love about this engine compartment is right there. Ford Performance. Ford Performance puts this whole package together, and it's the Ford Performance brand that's like a sub-brand of Ford that helps create the Shelby GT350 and 350R, the Ford Focus ST, the Ford Fiesta ST. All of these are under the Ford Performance brand, and when you see this label, you know that you're not driving your everyday Ford, and that's what I really like. Another thing that I like what the engineers did, they know that this car is about performance. I don't know if you can see here in the video, but this is actually an open air box. What this open air box allows is for cold air to be force fed into the engine. Colder air, more horsepower, and I like the touches. Look at how they could have just kept this simple, but they put the RS badge here. You see it up here on the top mount intercooler pipe, the up pipe, RS badging. It's those details that just add up, that let you know that they really care about this car. It wasn't just slabbed together. Another thing you may not know about this car, it's actually built in Germany. So even though American engineers, European engineers work together, the car, and it's just this model, they don't make any of the other Ford Focus models over in Germany. Just this model, and that's where the RS branch of their racing program exists, is in Germany, so it makes sense. So I don't know about you, but I'm ready to fire up this 2.3 liter and see how she sounds. here we are inside this rally car beast, the Ford Focus RS. I'm really liking the direction that Ford took the Focus just overall with the interior styling. One thing that I absolutely love is this shifter. This car comes with a 6-speed manual transmission specific to the RS, and as you can see, the throws are very nice and short and crisp. And if you could feel what this shifter knob feels like in your hand, it's perfect. It goes in and out, each gear clicks perfectly. It's a wonderful, wonderful shifter in this car. Another thing that I'm like what they did is that they carried the blue. So that nitrous colored blue has been brought inside the car with the blue stitching on the emergency brake handle, the shifter boot, on these seats. Let's talk about these seats real quick. This Ford Focus comes with these beautiful Recaro racing seats. Now what I like about them is that they have the Alcantara and leather mix. This is something I was talking about in my Type R video. This leather is going to take a better beating than just standard Alcantara or cloth in a seat. And what I really like is I like how they have this part where it extends a little bit to hug your legs. And that's what this seat's all about. It's about holding you in place so that when you're doing your track day, you're not going to be sliding around. And you know, there's been lots of complaints that the seat's too tight, I can't fit in it. I'm sorry, I'm 6 feet tall, I weigh 200 pounds, I fit snug as a bug in the seat, I love it, it's comfortable, and this is what you want in a performance car. If you don't want those types of seats, go get something else, just to be honest with you. One thing I also want to point out is up here on the dash. Ford does something, because this is a Ford performance vehicle, they do something that some of the other manufacturers are forgetting, like Honda. They're giving us that awesome instrumentation. We're getting the coolant temperature, we're getting the boost gauge, we're getting all of that information that we need, because that's important. You drop oil pressure, that's a bad sign. You need to know that so you could pull over and shut the engine off, because you could blow the motor because of a lack of oil. And oil is the blood of the engine, and you need that for lubrication. So this car is all about performance. It's a rally special car. The last thing I want to point out is right here on the center console. This car has different drive modes, and that's something I really like. Now, the suspension is electronic, just like in a Type R, but with the drive modes, you could actually make this car behave differently. I don't know if you've heard, there's a mode on here called drift mode. You could actually make this car behave like a rear engine car. And that's what I really like about it, is that getting that power. The power goes to the rear, you could get the back to slide a little bit, and it helps you with pivoting the car on the track and getting that ultimate performance. Another thing I like about this car is the all-wheel drive system. It's a very, very smart all-wheel drive system. The computers actually devote how much power is going to the front or how much power is going to the rear based off of the road conditions. And it's that technology that, guess what, Colin McRae and the other rally drivers who have raced for Ford over the years, that helped develop that we could drive every single day of the week and keep us safe on the roads out there. All right, guys, so I fired up the Ford Focus RS and I got Rodnell in the back. Make sure if you come to Walker Ford, ask for Rodnell. He'll take very good care of you. We're going to go on a little test drive and see what this 2.3 liter, 350 horsepower inline Ford turbocharged engine is going to be like. I'm sure it's not going to be disappointing. So, like I was saying before, this amazing 6-speed manual transmission we have here, very, very short throws, very, very smooth shifting. One thing I like about the Ford Focuses is that the engagement of the clutch. The clutch engages at a nice low point and it gives you good feedback. So, you know, you can feel comfortable right off the bat whenever you hop into one of these. So we're gonna go on a little spin for this test drive. One of the things I'm already noticing that I like about this car over my Type R is I like the lower lumbar support. This car has the RS2 package, which is going to give you those power driver seat, gives you nice power lumbar, that lower back support. We're going over these speed bumps, and you know, the car takes them really nicely. It's not too aggressive. You just gotta drive how you should be driving when you're going over a speed bump. So here we go, rolling out onto US 19 frontage road. Right off the bat, I mean, the first gear is very, very good. All the way up to red line, it pulls very nice and crisp. The steering wheel has a nice feel to it. It's not too tight, but it's not too sloppy to where you know, you're feeling like you're driving an old station wagon or something like that. It has a nice throaty sound though, which some of you might not be familiar with when it comes to an inline-4 engine. A lot of times you're expecting it to be very whiny. This has a very nice throaty sound forward. The engineers did a lot of work with the sound coming into the car, and it definitely paid off big dividends because it gives you a nice rumble to it, to where you know that you're not driving your standard Ford Focus. Obviously it's a work day, so it's a little trafficy, but hopefully we'll have a section here where we could open it up. That guy's driving a little erratic, so I'll go ahead and pass him. As you can hear, I don't know if you heard those little pops. That's what I was telling you about earlier in the video. The engineers were actually told to get those sounds into the engine because that's what people want to hear when they're driving a car like this. This is a rally-bred car. You want the performance, but you also want the sound, because that's the whole experience, and that's what I really love about this car. But as you can see, the all-wheel drive, very, very smooth, puts the power down nice. It's a very, very smooth, manageable car, but it has that performance that you want, so that whenever you're ready, you put it in a different drive mode, you take it out to an autocross track or to an actual local racetrack, and you can do your track days and whatnot and enjoy it. But as you can see, we're driving in a traffic situation, and the car is like a pussycat. It's not herky-jerky, it's not bouncing all over the place. It's a car that you could live with every day, and you get full hatchback usability. You need to go to the grocery store and load it up, you could do that. You can't do that in a two-seat sports car. And that's one of the things I love about it. Like I was telling you earlier, it's one of those things that if you're into just drag racing people from light to light, you're probably not going to be the biggest fan of it, although it does have the power. But you might want to go with something like a Mustang or a Camaro. But if you want something that every day you could drive it, if you want to go quick, you could go quick. If you want to go slow, you could go slow, and it doesn't feel weird or not normal, this is really the way to go. It's the best of both worlds. See if I can get a little bit of open room here. Yep, this truck can get out of the way. So as you can see, second gear into third, you hear the pops. It's got this car, I'm telling you right now, if you get the chance to get behind the wheel of a Ford Focus RS, take that person up on the offer. You are not going to be disappointed. And like I said, if you're interested in one of these and you live in the Clearwater area, come down to Walker Ford and see Rodnell. He's going to take really, really good care of you. I promise that. Like I said, the sounds are just really what make this car. It's very nice pulls. Car doesn't shake weird. It doesn't vibrate weird. It's very tight, very taut. But you can hear that sound. It's got great sound to it. And these seats, like I said before, I don't know what people are complaining about. They're extremely comfortable, yet I'm not moving at all, side to side or front to back. The car, when you go to downshift, you could blip the throttle very easily. It's got a nice feel of the throttle. have it, guys. Let me know what I should do, because I'm right now debating on trading in my Type R, which I don't know if you can see is right behind me over there, for this Ford Focus RS. I'll be honest, I love this car. It's a great performer. It's great every day. I really like the color, and I really like the performance of the car, and you can't beat that sound that you get from the motor that you're not getting with that Type R. And if you saw my video about the 5 things I hate about my Type R, that's one of the 5 is the sound. This car though, I can't think of one thing that I don't like about it. And please leave a comment, let me know what you think. Should I trade in my Civic Type R for this Ford Focus RS? That's the big question. And I really want to thank all of you for watching today. Remember, if you have a ride that you would like to have featured on Raiti's Rides, please leave me a comment. Please visit my website, raitisrides.com, and I'll get you right here with your car for all to see. And like I always say, I'll see you on the next ride.